Hello, everyone. Thank you all for being here. So I have to mention that this is my first talk on a conference, basically. So thank you for that. So we will discuss about the technical aspect of programmatic SEO. I have created one application. As you already saw from my intro, I'm a backend engineer, but I'm 10 years developing software, so I'm not a one-trick pony, so I can do many stuff, but that's not my, let's say, specialty. Let's dig into my presentation, but first, a couple of words about me. I'm a developer experience engineer at Infobip. I'm a lecturer at University of Split as well. I live in Split. My languages are C# and Python. And my point of interest are API, WebAssembly, and robotics. I kind of had an opportunity to program robots, and I'm very happy about that. And since I created one project for developers, you can use it as a template. You can check my GitHub, and you can fork it and download it and maybe upgrade it. And lastly, on this personal web page, you can check how I created my web page, and it's a bad example on how to create a web page because I created it with some framework that is not SEO friendly. So let's dig in how this project started. It started, of course, with management. My manager saw one article. Article was about Zapier. And my manager is a smart guy, and he saw a technical solution that can improve our product or service. But he thinks, as every manager, that any kind of project can be done over the weekend. So that's the issue. And he doesn't understand what is, let's say, backend, frontend, or full stack developer. He thinks that everybody is a full stack developer. So this is the article that motivated our talk and my project. Maybe you have heard about a company called Zapier. Zapier has a lot of applications. And what is special about Zapier, they can integrate those applications. So basically, if you have an application X and application Y, you can have a connection with them, as we will see from the next example that I will show you. But the article is about big numbers in revenue department. It is about big numbers in user department, and management loves big numbers, of course. Just a couple of words about, did we skip one? Sorry. Just a couple of words about SEO. For many of you know what SEO exactly is and how to create it. And we usually go for the high-value keywords. Obviously, there is a lot more except high-value keywords, but most of the value for your buck you will get from the key values that you are using. And as we are using, in general, in SEO, high-value keywords, we are competing with all the other people that are using the same keywords. And in programmatic SEO, we are doing something different. We are playing totally different game. We are not using high-value keywords. We are using long-tail keywords. So let's say, for example, what is a high-value keyword? If you are writing article about APIs, you are competing with all the articles that are written about APIs. But if you are specifically writing about communication APIs, then that's kind of a long keyword, and you are playing totally different game, especially if you are using programmatic SEO. Programmatic SEO means we will create lots of landing pages, and we will use long tail keywords for that on every page, I mean. And let's check what Zapier did. Zapier is a great success story. They have, like I said, more than 5,000 applications and integration between them. And for example, I choose Slack integration with Google Docs. So basically, someone drops a file in your Google Docs, you will get a notification in Slack. And we saw that this is something that we can use. If you Google, let's say, Slack integration with Google Docs, result on top of the search is this. The first is Google, second is Slack, and the third is Zapier. And when we are talking about SEO in general, we all want organic visitors. Nobody's clicking on that links with ads, and nobody for sure goes on the second page of the search because most relevant results are on the first page. And if we look at the landing pages across all of the Zephyr domain, we will see one template. Path is formed like this. Application A, integrations application B. And we saw that we can use this same template in our company. InfoBip is all about communication APIs, communication channels, and we have all sorts of channels, for example, SMS, WhatsApp, WebRTC, and we have integrations with a lot of companies, such as Uber, Microsoft, Oracle. And also we have added the third template as programming language. And you can do these integrations with all aforementioned programming languages. So let's say our first task in the project was to create a path. So that is our first task. And the path would have a template, channel platform programming language. As an input data, I got one landing page from my company, and that landing page I stripped off JavaScript. I just left HTML inside and CSS. And what is the problem with this page? It has only HTML, there is no dynamic data, so we need to upgrade it to next level and change, let's say, in a way that we present these products that we have, channel platform programming language. And first to check how the pages are ranked. So Google is ranking pages with crawlers. Most of you already know that. And when a crawler gets a path or a URL, he will send an API request to that page. And if the request response is 200, we will render the page and read the HTML, parse HTML. And then when HTML is parsed, it will go to Google, and Google will check, oh, is this content unique, or is it something else? And we will be ranked. So the takeoff from this slide is that we are rendering HTML. Google and other crawlers can render JavaScript as well, but the majority of pages that are rendered quickly are only HTML pages. So they can render JavaScript, but it's a difficult process, and it takes a processing power, so it is basically a slow process. So the takeoff is that crawlers like HTML, and crawlers don't like client-side JavaScript. So that is our third task in our project. We need to create pages that have server-side rendered HTML. And I mentioned my personal page. I built my personal page in Blazor. Blazor is a .NET framework for front-end. You can use C# code and write your front-end application. But what is the problem with this application? It uses client-side rendering, and it uses JavaScript. So basically, when crawlers visit my page, they will see on initial load nothing, just HTML. So you can compare my page as any other single-page application from React or Vue. Crawlers will see nothing, and my page will be ranked badly, so no one can find me. So golden standard for SEO is still server-side rendering HTML. As you can see, crawlers can easily parse this HTML and get data to Google and just see what content there is, and if it's unique, it will be on top of the search result. So what can we do? We can do a lot of stuff. There are a lot of techniques. We will talk about static site generation, obviously, but you can also use server-side rendering. You can also use incremental static rendering, but the takeoff from this is you don't want to use client-side rendering, since users can see the content, but crawlers on initial load will see nothing. And what can I do? So my question is, since I'm a backend engineer, what can I do and how can I solve this problem? Should I just copy that one landing page 30,000 times? Can I create a script that will parse HTML and copy it and deploy it? or am I a copy machine or an engineer? And I figured out the stuff I need to do. I need to do basically, I need to create pages dynamically. I need to change data on every page. I need to generate HTML. And with these requirements, I was Googling and I found Next.js. Next.js has a lot of cool stuff, but it has, let's say, for example, hybrid static and server rendering. It has route prefetching, and no config is needed. It's battery included framework. So I don't need to do much to configure everything. And prerequisites for Next.js is Node.js, and it's good to know a little bit of React, of course. And to create an application, it's enough just to put in a command npx create a next step. And the first thing we need to figure out when we are working with some kind of framework is how to create a path. With Next, it's very easy. You have a pages folder in your default project. Whenever you put a file in that pages folder, it becomes a route. So it's very easy. So that was our first task. So how can we create a route? Second task is, as we already mentioned, crawlers like HTML. And we need to serve HTML to crawlers and our users, in fact. And what is a special thing about Next.js? It pre-renders every page. What does that mean? That means that if we are using usual single-page applications such as Vue, React, or Blazor that I used, at initial phase, crawlers will see nothing. And then when JavaScript is rendered, there is a content. But as we already mentioned, if there is no response, initial response to the crawlers, HTML cannot be rendered, and we will be indexed very badly. What does Next do for us? It pre-renders every page, so when crawlers is making a request, we are rendering that page, and we can get available information to Google or any other search engine. And HTML pages are very boring, so after initial load, we can load JavaScript as well, and then our pages become alive and interactive as we are used to nowadays. And now this is the main point of the presentation. How did we create from one page 30,000 pages? And Next gives us two methods for that. The first method for that is static generation with data. So you can tell Next.js at the build time that we are depending on some data that is outside. Source can be any database, source can be any file system, or source can be API, and we will use API. And we can get that with getStatic properties. So at the build time, we are saying we are depending on some data, give us that data. In our case, we are depending on that structure, channel, company, and programming language. In the same manner, we can create the URLs or paths. We can tell Next.js at the build time, check what are our paths. And in a similar manner, that data can be in a file system, database, or some API. And that method is called getStaticPaths. And basically, with those two methods that are implemented on our landing page, we can get dynamic data on the landing page, and we can get the URL that is also dynamically created. And the solution of this project is this. Because I'm a backend engineer, this .NET part was very easy. I have created an API that can parse our web page and get the data in the database about all the channels that we have, all the integrations that we have, and all the programming languages that we are using. And at the front end, that was the tricky part for me, is my Next.js app. And basically, It requests from API. API has two endpoints, one for data, one for paths, and it requests us at the build time, so give me my dynamically created data. And create pages, of course. So I'm impressed that with these two methods, we can create thousands of pages with just two methods in framework, get static properties and get static paths. And that's programming magic behind the Next.js. And since I mentioned that we have only one landing page, maintenance is very easy. We don't have to maintain 30,000 pages. We are just relying on Next that he will create all the pages for us, and we can change only one template. And on that one template, we can change HTML, JavaScript, or CSS, and even dynamically created data. And let's figure out what was at the start of this project. Zapier is our role model, and you can check their landing page. We are talking about integration with Slack, and you can see the path and the landing page. And what was our goal? We have the similar situation. We have channel, platform, and programming language. And with Next.js, I managed to create that. Look at the path, it's dynamically created, and the data on that landing page is also changed. And also we can check another example as well. Another integration that we have, it's WhatsApp, Salesforce, C#. And also, yeah, we have created the path and the page as well. So I'm impressed how I, as a backend engineer, figured out with a little bit of work how to create dynamically more than 30,000 pages. We have only one landing page. We have one backend API that is serving all the data, and the pages are created. And we are doing that because we are playing another game. We are not using high-value keywords such as API, because obviously everybody uses that. We will use low-value keywords across multiple landing pages, and that will bring our whole domain up in SEO sense of things. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you for giving your talk, and I think nobody would have noticed it's your first talk. So.
Thank you.
And we have a question. That is, when you have 30,000 generated pages, how do you create unique content to be ranked higher in Google?
Oh, that's another story, because I have a short slot. As you may look at the Zapier page, they are using SEO is not that simple, of course. If you are using on your page, you cannot add just one landing page with same content. You have to add backlinks as well. So what does that mean? With the backlinks, you will get more exposure to web, and crawlers will easily find you. And you have to change also more data, not only integrations that we had, like WhatsApp, Salesforce, and C#. You can have in your API even CSS. You can have links for another products, and that Zapier is using heavily. So they are managing all of their landing pages a little bit different, but when you look at them across whole spectrum, they are the same, because they, let's say, for example, put a lot of stuff on the API side, and when you serve HTML, it's kind of different, but yeah, information is the same. So backlinks and CSS and photos you can also put on your backend and serve them as dynamic data.
Thank you. And two new questions just came in. The first one is, how compatible is Next.js with TypeScript?
Fully compatible, and I had it on my slides. I didn't mention it. It's 100% compatible. You have a template as easy as I create a template in my presentation. You can create a template with TypeScript, just as in React, as we are used to.
How important is the URL depth of keyword for the landing page?
Yeah, it's very important. That's another topic that I didn't want to open. So, like I mentioned before, SEO is complicated stuff. Nobody knows 100% what is happening there, but we all agree that unique content, keywords, and the URL path is the most important thing. So that's why we are having this talk here.
One more question just came in, and that is, when Googling a solution for SSR, did you ever consider Gatsby? And if so, what made you choose Next over Gatsby?
I didn't consider Gatsby. We are using it actually at the company, so maybe I can try it out and upgrade my talk next year here. So thanks for the recommendation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.